Good day, everybody. It's Andrew here, and welcome back to today's update on stimulus and Social Security changes. We have huge updates as Nancy Pelosi says they are a few hours from having a deal for that next stimulus package, and we have Democrats saying that there's a good chance we're going to have an $800 stimulus check for seniors in this stimulus package. So let's discuss the details in this video, but before we do, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. I also have a second channel, so please subscribe to that one. I'm going to be giving away a stimulus check on that channel just as a thank you for supporting my work. And on that channel, we have updates on stimulus and Social Security as well, but we mix it in with fun things like bingo, playing the lottery, playing casino games, just kind of a channel to have some fun, as well as have daily updates mixed in as well. So I really appreciate every single one of you who have subscribed to that channel. I'm gonna get video started on that one soon. But let's talk about today's update. And guys, I hope you had a good weekend. It's been a couple of days since I've been on the channel. We did have a couple of updates on my channel from Pelosi and Joe Manchin. We had some clips kind of describing what was going on currently. But me and my wife were on a little bit of a vacation. We went to a cabin for 2 days. So thanks for hanging in there as I was gone for 2 days. But here I am back with an update and huge news as Nancy Pelosi says that Democrats are a few hours away. In fact, by the time you're watching this video, there's a chance that they've announced a deal for that stimulus package. Now, this has obviously been in the works for about 6 months at this point, and moderates and progressives have been fighting over the size of the package. Well, now it looks like they're narrowing in to somewhere between $1.75 and $2 trillion for the overall cost of this bill. So by the end of tonight's or tomorrow, the middle of this week, we should have a deal on the framework for this package. Now, what they mean by that is the overall costs and the top line summary of what's going to be included, which now it looks like will be an $800 stimulus check for seniors, specifically everyone who was on Medicare, and we think it's going to include everyone who is on SSI, SSDI, and VA benefits as well. That still has not been announced, but that's usually how it works, right? Everything that goes to Social Security beneficiaries, for the most part, when it comes to these stimulus plans, they've extended them to SSI, SSDI, and VA benefits as well. Now, this article is titled Democrats Waive Vouchers for Medicare Dental Benefits Amid Funding Squeeze. Now, they're calling it a voucher, but it looks like what they're thinking about doing is sending it out via a debit card, which you could technically use on anything, right? So this debit card would be Visa most likely, and you could use it anywhere Visa is accepted. But it's almost like they're marketing it as a voucher for Medicare, really because they want to include dental coverage in this Medicare expansion for the stimulus package, but experts have said it could take many years to actually get that done. So now they're trying to do an $800 stimulus check and potentially do that every single year for seniors until Medicare is fully expanded to include dental coverage. Now, a lot of people have been saying in the comments, wait, does this mean that if they do an $800 stimulus check, that they're no longer going to do the $1,400 stimulus check, which is something we've talked about on this channel for weeks? We have some pushing for a $1,400 stimulus check for seniors because Medicare costs have gone up so much. Well, it still is not clear, so we'd have to wait and see. But currently, the good thing is if we get this $800 stimulus check, we do have Democrats considering doing them every single year. And on top of that, we still have progressives pushing for a $1,400 stimulus check. And Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden announced that there will be another stimulus package in 2022. So something that could potentially happen is we get an $800 stimulus check for seniors now in this current stimulus package, then potentially a $1,400 stimulus check in the next package in 2022. And of course, we're hoping that package next year also includes an expansion, a permanent expansion of Social Security benefits as well. Well, Pelosi announced that we should have a framework for this deal, the stimulus package, announced either tonight or tomorrow, so we will have updates on that shortly. But it looks like Pelosi has been having a lot of intense meetings with conservatives and progressives, and she is urging the Democratic caucus as a whole to embrace this deal that they're going to announce. Because when Pelosi announces this deal, it's going to be Pelosi, Schumer, and President Biden announcing this deal and the framework, and the Democrats are going to find out almost just right when we do. And we've seen it before, right, where The stimulus package, the details aren't announced until the day before it's approved, and the leaders like Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, President Biden, they basically announce the package and they tell the senators and the House of Representatives, all right, guys, this is the deal. This is the best we can do. We need you guys to vote and approve this. And that's what happened with the last stimulus package with the third stimulus check, and that's kind of what's happening now. Pelosi is telling them, guys, this is the best we're going to get. This is the most that we could get out of Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin. So we're going to have to vote and get this approved. And she is urging the Democratic caucus to embrace this deal that they're about to announce, kind of bracing them to say, hey, it's a compromise. It's not perfect, but this is the best we're going to do. And she's been meeting with Joe Manchin, with Kyrsten Sinema, with Jayapal, everybody from the progressive side and the conservative side, and she just had a meeting with Jayapal, which is the representative from Washington, and the meeting seemed to have gone relatively well. Now, Pelosi promised progressives, we will not vote on the infrastructure plan. Remember, we're still doing that physical stimulus plan, which moderate Democrats and Republicans want to get done. The Senate already approved that bill, and now we're waiting for Democrats to approve it in the House so President Biden can fully sign it into law. Now, remember, progressives did not want to vote on that one until they also voted on the stimulus package to make sure that both got done and that the stimulus package wasn't just kind of left out, as conservatives would really have no incentive to vote for that stimulus plan once the physical stimulus plan was done, if that kind of makes sense. Well, Nancy Pelosi promised group progressives once again that they will not vote for the physical stimulus plan until they have a guarantee that the other stimulus package will be approved as well. Well, most progressives are happy with that, but Jayapal, which again is the progressive representative from Washington, she said she will not even vote for the physical stimulus plan unless they have a promise that immediately afterwards, meaning right afterwards in the House, they will take the American Family Stimulus package to a vote as well. So Pelosi promised to have a deal on principle on the stimulus plan before they bring the physical stimulus plan to a vote, and most Democrats are happy with that. But Jayapal, which is one of the most progressive representatives in the House, says she doesn't only want a promise, she wants the bill actually brought to a vote immediately afterwards. Now, is Pelosi going to be able to deliver on that? We'll have to wait and see, because Pelosi has promised conservatives to bring the physical stimulus plan to a vote on Thursday. So that's 2 days from now. So is 2 days going to be enough to completely write the stimulus package and bring it to a vote on the same day? We'll have to wait and see. Pelosi said the stimulus plan is 90% written. So there's a chance that it could happen on Thursday as well. But again, we'll have to wait and see. Now, one of the main things that they're still arguing about is exactly how to pay for this stimulus plan, right? And what has emerged is a tax specifically for billionaires. Now, originally, if you remember, this stimulus package was supposed to be paid for by taxing everybody making over $400,000 per year and increasing the corporate tax from 21% to about 26%. Well, Kyrsten Sinema did not want to do either of those things. She doesn't want to raise taxes on corporations, and she doesn't want to raise taxes on people making over $400,000 per year. So the solution Democrats have found is basically a wealth tax. So taxing billionaires specifically on their wealth. So taxing billionaires on their assets and using that money to pay for the stimulus package. Now, exactly how that would work still has not been announced. We expect that to either be announced tonight or tomorrow morning, so I'll keep you updated on the details of that wealth tax. But a lot of people are already arguing, first of all, is it okay? Is it morally okay to tax billionaires even further than anybody else just to pay for the stimulus packages? Well, in my opinion, yes. I think it's completely okay. And then secondly, they're saying, is it even legal based on the Constitution? Can you tax a billionaire's assets? So what we're thinking here is if Elon Musk, for example, or Bill Gates, if they own a mansion worth $50 million, can you add an additional billionaire tax to that house on top of the regular property tax? Or if they own a stock, for example, Bill Gates owns Microsoft stock, can you tax him for owning that stock because he's a billionaire? So some conservatives are saying you can't, but it looks like this is most likely going to end up in that package. But it is the main thing they're trying to figure out now, because remember, this package has to be fully paid for. President Biden has said it, Joe Manchin has said it, and that is one of the main things Joe Manchin has said. He wants this stimulus package to be fully paid for. Otherwise, he is not going to vote to approve it. Now, Joe Manchin actually recently held an interview discussing his thoughts on the stimulus package and where negotiations stand today, including why he wants this stimulus package to be fully paid for and why he thinks the fact that inflation has been lasting longer than we thought is one reason why he wants the stimulus package to be closer to 1.75 trillion and not the 3.5 that President Biden wanted, as well as the fact that they expect a framework to be in place by the end of this week. They also discussed the fact that Kyrsten Sinema is going to have pressure on her to get on board for this stimulus package, especially now that Joe Manchin seems to be mostly on board, and the fact that he has been meeting with progressives like Bernie Sanders and Jayapal so they can try and genuinely come to a compromise on this package. So let's quickly take a look and see what Joe Manchin had to say. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And again, don't forget to subscribe. We will have updates on this stimulus package as Nancy Pelosi has promised to have a framework deal by tomorrow and at the very latest by the end of this week. But again, subscribe, I'll keep you posted, and let's take a look and see exactly what Joe Manchin had to say, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
Senator, thank you for coming. Anything new lately?
Not much.
There's been reported in the press that you were spending the weekend in Delaware. Anything you can tell us about what happened?
I had a nice visit. I really did. I had a nice visit. President Biden and I have known each other for quite a while, but, you know, knowing each other in the political arena and then knowing each other as a person is a different setting. So since he's been president, we've got to know each other as who we are and who hopefully he knows who I am. And I've just basically said to the president, I said, Mr. President, my philosophy of politics is this. When I got involved in 1982, I always thought government should be my partner, not my provider. And I meant that literally and figuratively. And I said, my reason for that is that then when I became governor and Sharon Rockefeller was the first lady of West Virginia and did an unbelievable job when Jay was the governor, and watched how they conducted themselves. And I'll never forget one time Sharon and I were talking, and she says, Joe, I think my dad and you would have gotten along just fine. Right. And Senator Percy, and I took that as a compliment. She knows how I felt about that. But anyway, we start looking at what's going on, where we are, and this and that and that. And I said, my reason for saying that is that I have a moral responsibility to take care of those who can't take care of themselves. And I think government has that moral responsibility. Government has a moral responsibility to do things that basically the private sector won't do, or it's too risky for them. We got to jump out and be creative and do things. And then the private sector will jump in, and the entrepreneurs will take over, and Steve and all of his group will jump in there and make things happen. We'll take the risk out of it, but we, shouldn't be on the front end putting everything and taking care of everybody.
But as a result of the session you had with the president, do you think you came away with an understanding of where the country is going on all these bills?
Well, and I've said this, I think all of you remember maybe a couple months ago, I said I really thought long and hard about taking a strategic pause. And the reason I said maybe we should take a strategic pause and reevaluate what we're doing, and to the extent of what people want to do. My reason for saying that was a lot of the things that are in this reconciliation bill, a lot of the things there we had covered in the ARP, American Rescue Plan, at $1.9 trillion. And if you look at the American Rescue Plan bill that we did, it covers a lot of the things they're talking about clear up through 2022 and into 23. So I didn't see the urgency that someone's going to be left without any type of cover through coming out of a COVID pandemic. And the whole reason about what we did in 2020, to the extent we did what we did, was trying to prevent the country from going into a health crisis or a financial crisis. And we did that. Now, I said, the unknown was this. We didn't know what the COVID was coming back, the variant of the COVID. We didn't know what it was going to do. And we're still seeing, spikes and valleys and spikes. We didn't know if inflation is transitory or not. Now we're finding out it might not be transitory. And then the biggest thing that I had concerns about, which you don't hear people talk about much, was the geopolitical fallout of how we left Afghanistan. Because I know what my little coal town I come from, just human nature was, if there was a bully and you saw someone smack that bully and make that bully back down, then everybody else is ready to take their shot too.
So, but to finish on the session in Delaware,
He's not going to let this one go, is he?
What did you leave thinking that we're making progress, and that you said to the president, "Well, here's my bottom line, and if you can deliver this, you got my vote"?
I don't think you negotiate. No one should ever negotiate with the president, especially, or anyone else if you're negotiating in good faith. Yeah, I've always tried to put myself in the other person, but I want the other person to understand who I am too. So if they can put themselves where I am and I put mine, we reverse roles and look at it. So when I left, I think it was a very positive meeting. We know there's a lot of things we can do to make a more perfect union.
Okay. When you go to the president's house like that, I guess you can ask for anything you want to eat, and they serve anything, right? Because they want to make you happy, right? So you had a good time.
Well, let me tell you, the thing we had a good time was, as you know, I kidded him. You know how he was always supposed to be the poorest senator. He had an eye for real estate. So I told him, I said, Mr. President, you didn't do too bad for a poor senator. But let me tell you one thing he did. And he talked about that, and you walked down. But he built the home, and I was very impressed. He did a heck of a job, and he designed the whole thing. We went through it. It's a very nice home and a very nice setting. And he has some neighbors, and one neighbor is not of his political persuasion. And if he's 4 inches over, if a car parks 4 inches over, that sometimes he hears about it.
Even when he's president of the United States?
Oh, right now more so when he's president, yeah.
So when you're negotiating with him or meeting with him, are you kind of representing Senator Sinema, or does she represent herself?
No. One thing you learn about being a Senate, if you can take care of yourself, you're lucky.
Okay. So, all right. So she has her own views, and you have your views. Okay.
I respect her very much, and she's a friend of mine. But, you know, I think what we bonded, and because I've been adamant, I've been there long enough to vote in 2013 against the nuclear bomb, getting rid of the filibuster that at that time Senator Harry Reid did. And then in 2017 when Mitch McConnell did it for Supreme Court. And I've been very steadfast on that. And then to find out I have another person who feels as strong as I do was welcome.
Okay. So is all of the attention you're getting pleasurable, or actually a pain in the something or another?
Yeah, I wouldn't, this position, I guess, I wouldn't wish it on anybody. And people keep talking about power. You know, everybody, I look at this room and all the power in this room, and you all been around, all of us have been long enough, and watching life and watching how people basically navigate life. I've seen people with an awful lot of power that abused it. And I said, why would they do that? And I've seen people that sought power and destroyed themselves trying to gain it. And then I've seen people took a moment of time. And I'll tell all of you right now, a moment of time is this. We better bring our country together. We better figure out it's United States of America, united, not divided States of America. And we better start working on that.
But in other words, you are the key vote in so many things going on in the Senate, and Senator Sinema as well.
It's not pleasant.
Is that fun to be?
There's nothing fun about it. But I always said this. I kept thinking, because I was a governor in 2009 when they were doing the American Rescue Plan. I mean the Affordable Care Act, and I kept thinking, if I'd have been governor, if I'd have been senator at that time, and it come down to a swing vote like it did with a couple of the moderates at that time. I think maybe I could have made a little bit of a difference there, and because I understood how it was delivered in the states, and people that were going without, and people that needed it, but also people that could abuse it and take advantage of it. And I thought there's a better way to do it. Lo and behold, 10 years later, I find myself in a position, and about every vote, 50-50 Senate. Who would have thought that it had come down to this?
So is this making you more popular in West Virginia, or less popular? All this attention, or is it?
Depends on what corner of town you go to.
Right. So. And you go back almost.
I go back all the time, yeah. And I love my state, and I'm born and raised in a little coal mining town, Farmington, 400 or 500 people. And I just saw people that worked all the time and kind of shared what they had and took care of each other and took care of those who couldn't take care of themselves if they were mentally or physically handicapped. The town always picked them up. I mean, I saw all the good in what we are, small town America, and what the United States is. And I thought, well, maybe the whole country's that way.
Now, the House has announced that I think it's going to have a vote on two bills, the infrastructure bill, which has passed the Senate, and maybe the larger bill that we've been talking about that would be subject to reconciliation. Do you know what's in the reconciliation bill that the House is going to vote on?
Well, the House, I haven't seen their bill. Whatever they do, they'll send, if they pass it, they'll send to us, and then what we'll do is look at it from the standpoint, and then if it goes into conferees, or if they don't want it to go into conferees, who accepts which version of it. But I haven't seen all the text yet, so I've said this: I'm very, very supportive. I think the president's done an admirable job of putting people together and making us talk and work through our differences and at least understand each other.